bring together men and women on a melanated minds journey to embrace self-love and empowerment through understanding and taking care of their mind, body, and soul. Melanated Minds is an exclusive community that uplifts and supports one another. The network made for us. Join the Melanated Minds Network today.
Awesome. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to our first The Melanated Minds Network live of this month. We are focusing on financial literacy, where we're going to be talking about money. This is something that we in our community, the minority community, sometimes are stressed about because we don't know how to either manage a budget or we allow money to tell us what to do. But today, we have an expert that's going to come on live, that's going to come share some nuggets with us, and also just show us how we can invest and how to make our money work for us. So I'm going to bring on stage Mr. Charles Hutchins. He holds a bachelor's and master's degree in finance and brings over 15 years of expertise in financial markets. His ultimate mission is to educate families on strategic investments and also lead them to generational wealth. Charles is licensed in life insurance and investment, and he is equipped with the knowledge and experience to guide you and your family to financial freedom. Mr. Charles Hutchins, welcome to the Melanated Minds Network. How are you this evening?
Oh, blessed and highly favored. That's what I always tell everybody. So thanks for having me.
Yes, awesome. Thank you for saying yes. As we were preparing for this season to speak about financial literacy, this month is Financial Literacy Month, and we know a lot of individuals in our community are not financially educated in regards to how, let's let the truth be told, a lot of us are not financially educated when it comes to money. So we definitely want to take time out to pour into our community and show them different avenues how to use their money and let it be a tool for them. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and let you have the floor, okay?
So first I want to say thank you for, thinking about me. Right? I'm even honored to sit down and talk to everybody here because, sometimes people don't think about money in the way that they should. So before we even get started, a couple things I want to say. First thing, I'm in my office. So my dog starts barking. It's not me, it's the dog. So just bear with me. But everything I'm going to talk about tonight is for educational purposes only. I have to say that because I have a financial license. Anything you take as an educational perspective, not as actual financial advice. If you want financial advice, please reach out to me. We can have to sit down, have some consultations. I can explain everything to you, but this is just educational purposes only. So no, if I tell you about a stock, you don't just run out there and start buying it. Nope, look into it. It might not fit your particular needs, your particular investment portfolio. So just have to say that before I even get started. But again, thank you for having me tonight. It's a lot of places people like to start, a lot of places people like to go into, but the first thing that I think is the biggest misnomer in our community is that we don't have any money. I don't have no money. I don't have nothing. If you're gainfully employed, you have money. It's all about what you do with the money that you do have. So I know people that have started off with, making $30,000 a year to build a portfolio making hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. I know people make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They don't have a net worth of $50,000. So it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. I always try to tell everybody that because it's a big misconception that, if I only made $100,000 a year, I could do better. If I made $300,000 a year, I could do better. Not necessarily. It's all about how you manage the little bit of money that you do have or the amount of money that you have to basically make your financial dreams come true. But the first thing that we don't do in our community is pay ourselves first. It's the biggest obstacle I talk to a lot of my clients about. It goes, well, I got paid, $5,000 this month, and the mortgage was $2,000, and this bill was that, and this bill was that, and at the end of the day, I only had $200 left. Well, they worked it backwards. Your biggest bill is yourself. You have to pay yourself first. So if you do any kind of budget, any kind of breakdown, you want to at least be able to set aside at least 10% of whatever your net income is a month. So every time you get paid, 10% goes into a savings account, into some type of money that's for you, whether it's investing, savings, whatever it may be. That's your personal money that you're going to use to build your wealth. Because if you use your wealth properly, it'll grow. You want to use your money as a tool to build more money. Your money should be working for you, not you working for your money. But it becomes a bigger issue when people say, I don't have any money. Well, if you pay yourself first and work your net worth from that 10% deficit, you'll be perfectly fine and you'll be able to build wealth a lot faster. Typically, people don't understand that. They pay all their other bills first, and whatever's left they see is theirs. You have to put yourself as the top priority because, unfortunately, if you're not here, then nothing's going to get paid. Another thing a lot of people in our community don't believe in or don't have is life insurance. Unfortunately, you're not going to be around forever. While you're trying to build that wealth or build that income that you want to have to protect, your loved ones, your family, whatever it may be, if you're no longer here, they're going to be missing not only you, but that income that you're bringing in. So that life insurance portion or life insurance component is a huge portion of your net worth or a big asset to have to say, okay, God forbid something does happen to me, I can still know that my family is going to be okay. So that's another big thing that a lot of people don't use the proper way or in a way that's successful for their particular situation. Now, everything's going to be a little different. You might make a lot of money. You might be able to afford to set aside more than 10%. You might not make as much money. You might not be able to put aside 10%. But if you look at your budget, whether it's you make $1,000 a month or make $500 a month, whatever it may be, that 10% is doable because if you're making 10% less, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't, cancel all the bills or the kids couldn't eat out or you couldn't get that extra thing at McDonald's. You just have to structure your life to say, okay, that money that I'm setting aside is for me and for me to build wealth off of. So using that 10% or whatever else you can set aside, you're going to use that to build your portfolio and build wealth. Another thing that a lot of people don't like or don't understand is how to actually build wealth once they start to get that little bit of a nest egg to start to get a little bit bigger. I talk to people all the time about, building stocks or investments or bonds or mutual funds, and they panic. They go, well, I don't want to do anything about that. My grandma always told me, don't put that money in that stock market. That stock market going to crash and you lose all your money. It's not going to happen. The stock market's been around for a very long time. It's been around since the 1920s. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. There's been 2 financial crashes since then, but it's never been at zero. So when people hear crash, they think, oh my God, the world's going to end. No, even when the stock market crashes, there's still stocks that are out there performing very, very well. It just means the majority of the stocks are performing at a lower rate than they should be. But it doesn't mean the stock market stopped. So using stocks is a great way to build wealth and a great way to expand your money and make your money work for you without you having to work for your money. Because when you use any kind of financial instrument, what you're doing is you're putting money out there for it to gain. So a lot of people say, well, stock market can go down. I can lose all my money. It is true. It's not a perfect thing. It's not something that's always going to be moving up. But here's the thing. If you look at a stock market chart from the first day, from the initial birth of the stock market till now, the stock market goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But the actual chart is going this way, meaning that it's always growing. No matter what the stock is that you choose, if you diversify your portfolio correctly, it will always grow, which basically means you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to put all of your money in one stock. If you do that, then yes, you do have the ability to lose all your money, and that's not what we're here to do. So the key to building wealth is diversification, whether it's in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. You never want to just put all your money in one thing. You want to put it into as many things as possible. So what I mean by that is this. Let's say if you were going to get into the stock market and you don't have a clue how to do anything or where to start or where to begin. First thing you want to do is, if you want to do it on your own, do a little bit of research. Google is an amazing tool. Type in Google top performing stocks for 2025. It'll tell you top performing stocks in the past 10 years. It'll let you know. If you don't know how to start anything like that or even know where to go, reach out to a financial advisor. You call someone like me. You can go to any kind of branch, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, any of these big broker branches, they'll talk to you. Now, I will tell you this. If they do deal with you, they might take a percentage of your money. So if you go in there and ask questions is free. Open up accounts, it might cost you a little bit of money. So you might want to just try to figure out if you can do it on your own first. But it is not as hard as you think it is because we're in an information age. We're in an age where you can learn or do just about anything if you do the proper amount of research. So I'm going to give you a couple vehicles that you might want to look into that might help you, especially for new investors. But again, like I said, the name of the game is diversification. So if you're going to get into the stock market, you want to find several different options for you to put your money into and let your money work for you and you not work for your money. So let's say if you're looking into the stock market, you said, okay, I want to build a portfolio. And I think that the hospitality field is the greatest field ever. Hotels is the next wave. You don't know what hotel is going to be great. You don't know what hotel is going to fly. You know what hotel is going to be the biggest thing in America. What you want to do is look for something called an ETF. It stands for Exchange Traded Funds. Basically, what an ETF is you can own just about every stock in that particular field in one stock or one fund, I should say. So instead of you saying, I'm going to go buy Hilton, or I'm going to go buy, Radisson, or I'm going to go buy, Marriott, in one fund, it'll have Hilton, Radisson, Marriott, Doubletree, whatever hotel you can possibly think of, they can all be in one fund. That way, you're diverse. You got a lot of different things going on. So if that particular field grows, then your money's going to grow. But it's a way for you to do it at an inexpensive cost because you're not buying each one of those stocks at its face value. So you're not paying, $100 for Hilton. You're not paying another $200 for Marriott. You can buy that one stock for anywhere from, $30 to $70, depending on what the ETF actually is. You can do that for just about any particular field that you're thinking of. There are 11 different sectors for ETFs. It's energy, materials, industry, consumer goods, consumer staples, financial markets, healthcare, real estate, infrastructure, utilities, and telecommunications. I think I got all 11 of them. I haven't taken the test in a while, but check me on that. But any of those fields have ETFs, meaning that you can buy into that field, and you'll buy multiple entities in that field to help you with your diversification. Another thing you want to look into if you are starting off as a very, very new trader or new investor is something called an index fund. What an index fund is basically buying the entire market, but there are different markets out there. So there's something called the S&P 500. It's the 500 largest companies in the world or in the country. They have all 500 of them in one stock. It's called S&P 500 index. So if the S&P 500 goes up 5%, then your money grew 5%. Whatever the market does, you're going to do. Like I said before, the market goes up and down, but it's always been going up and to the left or up and to the right at a consistent rate, which means it's always been growing. So if you invest in something as simple as a S&P 500 index, you're going to gain wealth. Now, it might not be at a very quick rate. You might not be rich tomorrow, but you're going to be growing your money. That's the important part. You want to grow your money. If you're not growing your money and you're just keeping it in the bank, or if the bank's not giving you anything but 0.000002 on your money and inflation is 5%, you're losing money. So you have to figure out a way to keep up with inflation to keep your money growing or keep it moving for you. Another index that you might want to look into is something called the NASDAQ or the QQQ. It basically looks at the NASDAQ, which is there's another group of financial markets that actually grows. It's been growing at a pretty decent rate as well. The stock market grows anywhere from 8 to 12% annually. So you're always, well, not always, but you're going to be looking at a gain if you diversify properly, no matter what you put it in. The issue is going to become when you put your money into one thing because Tesla's going to be the greatest thing ever. I'm going to buy Tesla. Well, it may be the greatest thing ever. It might be the next big boom, might be the next big stock. But if that stock takes a turn for the worse, unfortunately, now you're bankrupt. You lost all your money. So diversification is going to be the key. Another good way you can make sure you're diverse is by using something called a mutual fund. Now, a mutual fund is very, very similar to an ETF. The difference is the managing of it. So what an ETF is it'll be maybe the top 20 performing stocks for that particular field. And it'll be managed. They'll look at who's the top performing companies, and they'll put them all into an account. And that account will be managed roughly about every year. They'll take a look at those stocks and then kind of reorder them based on who's now the best stock and who's not the best stock. And they'll reorder, and then they'll keep it going about every year. They do about a review. A mutual fund is similar, but not the same. So basically means those same funds, you can get the same field, But instead of it being monitored, once a year, they're looking at it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. It's always constantly changing, but it's always high performance. So it's managed a little bit differently. So since it's managed a little bit differently, paying for it can be a little bit more expensive because it's a different fund, but it's not outrageously expensive. You can get an ETF or you can get a mutual fund for, so 30, 40, 50 bucks. I mean, we're not talking about something that's going to break the bank. These are things that are very, very affordable. But most people don't know they have access to them because they don't look into the market. They rather put their money into a savings account, just hope and pray that it works, or just keep money under a mattress. Well, unfortunately, that's not growing for you. With inflation, you actually end up losing money. So you want to be mindful of where you're putting money for it to be a better product for you. There are a lot of different ways you can do things, a lot of different ways you can make money, but typically in the market, there are going to be two ways you can make money. The first way is called a dividend, and the second one is called equity. So when you buy stock, some stock, not all stock, they produce something called dividends. What that means is you bought a stock for, let's say, $100. That company says, you know what? We had a really good year last year. Since we had a really good year last year, and you gave us $100 to support our company, we're going to give you a percentage of our profits. So our company had made, an additional $100 million. We're going to set aside $1 million of that, and we're going to give 5% of that $1 million to everybody that has a share. So you'll get whatever that percentage is off your share price. So if your share price is $100, 5% of that, you get a $5 dividend, which is pretty cool because it's money that you didn't do anything for. You're just sending you a check for $5. Most of the time, they're a little more than that, depending on how many shares you have, what percentage they're giving out. But that's free money for you just for investing your dollars. Typically, they pay dividends every quarter. Some pay them semi-annually, which is every 6 months. Some of them pay annually. So it's a way for you to gain money without even doing anything. You gave them money to put into a stock, and now they're paying you for basically investing in your company. Another misnomer for when you invest, though, is you're just throwing your money away. People don't understand because in our community, if you don't have a tangible good, I wasted my money. I didn't go buy no shoes. I didn't get no sneakers. I didn't get no shirt. You're owning a company. You have to understand that investing is owning. You own a company. You own Apple. You own Tesla. You own Disney. You actually own these companies. They belong to you. You are a shareholder. That's what a shareholder is. You own a share of the company. So for a lot of people, it's, I put all this money in the stock market. The stock went down. But that's your company. Your company didn't do very well. But that's fine. If you have confidence that you chose the right company, it's going to come back. I always tell all my investors, it always bounces back. A stock may go down, it'll always bounce back. You just got to hold on for a little bit longer. Just let it ride out. Don't panic. Don't invest in fear. Just let the things go and let them grow, and you'll see a return. You'll see money come back out to you. But dividends is a great way to have a secondary income, or have a way to support have a recurring income coming to your household without you having to do anything because you invest the money. It's a really cool trick that I learned from one of my mentors, how to get a free phone bill. So give you this quick tip. Again, this is all for educational purposes. I'm not just take it with a grain of salt and just understand the concept behind it. So he owns AT&T. This is a stock. You can buy it on Robinhood. You can buy it on Charles Schwab. You can buy it on TD Ameritrade. You can open up a brokerage account and buy your own stock. So he owns AT&T. AT&T pays a dividend to him every quarter. So he said, I have an AT&T phone. I'm going to make my AT&T stock pay my AT&T phone bill. So what he did was he calculated how much his phone bill would be every 3 months. How much stock would I have to own to get a dividend to cover that bill? And that's what he did. He purchased that amount of stock. So in 3 months, he got a check for, I think, like $640, paid his phone bill. That was additional money that he had coming from the company, not including the investment that he has in the company. So his investment is still growing in AT&T, but now they're giving him a dividend that pays his phone bill. They don't have a phone bill now. The company's paying for it. It's a pretty smart way to use the stock. But these are the kind of things, or kind of tips and tricks that most people don't think about or don't realize are available to them because no one's ever taught us these things. And unfortunately, the school system's not going to teach you these things, because if they teach you this, now you can be financially independent. Well, now you don't have to go to work. We need workers. That's not anything wrong working. You kind of have to work to fund your nest egg to be able to do these kind of things. So I'm not knocking people that work. Working is amazing. It's typically how most millionaires become millionaires. They got to start off somewhere, but they don't just work their whole life. No one works a job to be a millionaire. They invest. They have other entities paying into their households. So having those things, I told you my dog was gonna do it. Having those people do it, having those extra streams of income come in are amazing. That's what kind of how you grow wealth, how you build generational wealth. Another thing that most people don't understand is to build generational wealth, it does not take a lot of money. People say, "Oh, well, I want to have wealth and I want to be able to do these kind of things, but I don't have any income to do it." There are two ways you can grow your wealth to be generational or to pass on to generations. You have a little bit of money and a lot of time, or a lot of time and a little bit of money. Most people have the former. They got a little bit of money and a whole lot of time. So I always do this exercise with all of my clients. Did you know that if you opened up just a regular mutual fund, mutual funds pay about 8 to 12% ballpark, depending on what you have. I have some mutual funds that pay at about 18 to 20%, depending on what they do. But let's say you have a modest one. Let's say you have one at 9%. If you put $300 into a mutual fund at 9% for, I think it was 28 years with 5% inflation, you'll have $750,000. $250,000 just from $300, because compounding interest is a real thing. So your money actually grows on a compounding interest rate, because it's kind of like I always explain it like this. When you have mold on a piece of bread, this is the analogy I can explain it best way. If you have a little piece of bread and it's starting to get moldy, it'll just get hard and crusty. It might not get moldy, but it might take a while to do it. But if you have a really big loaf of bread and a little bit of mold on it, that mold will grow really fast because it has more things to eat. The more money you put into that account is basically the bread. It's what's driving it. That's why it eats it faster. So your money actually compounds faster because you're feeding it. You're putting that $300 in there every month. So that plus the interest rate grows your money exponentially. But a lot of people don't know that because, again, A, they didn't learn it, or they don't have the financial backing of someone telling them or showing them how to do it. I always laugh at a lot of my clients as well that are older. Like, oh my God, had I known this younger, I'd be a millionaire. Well, yeah, that's true, but you have children. So why don't you teach your children these things? Well, I didn't know these things. Well, it doesn't matter. If you teach your children, they will learn it. They might not seem like they're interested in it now, but it will click. It will spark. It happens all the time. It happens with my kids. My kids now are 11 and 12, or I'm sorry, 10 and 11. Don't know how old my kids are. And when they were really, really, really younger, I told them about investments, talking about stocks and bonds and, how to trade on the market. I didn't think they were listening, but, teach them, hey, this is ownership. They have their own accounts. They both have their own UPMA accounts or minor accounts. But my daughter, I'll never forget it. She came to me, said, Daddy, did you know that Disney is having its 50th anniversary now? So I'm thinking she's going to say, can we go to Disney? I'm like, yeah, I've heard about that. So that means a lot of people going to Disney, right? I'm like, yeah. She said, well, if I buy Disney now as a stock and all those people go, I get paid off that, right? And I just kind of laughed at myself because in her eyes, she said, all these people going to go to Disney. I want to make the money that Disney make it. I can own Disney. But it was just a little spark in her. She was 7 years old at the time, I believe she said that. But now she understands, hey, instead of me going to go to Disney World, I can buy Disney World. I can own it. But those are the kind of things that we don't teach our kids or anybody in our neighborhood or our environment or our community, because A, you didn't know, or B, you're afraid to get the information out. I'll beat my head against the wall all day long if it takes me 4 months, 6 months, 8 years, whatever, for you to understand, hey, this is a way to get out. This is a way for you to build wealth. This is a way for your family to grow. There are a lot of little nuances about growing wealth that a lot of people don't learn or don't know or are afraid to try because it wasn't taught to them, or they're afraid of looking silly or looking stupid, but they want to have money. So it's little things like that. You can't really worry about what other people think or what other people are doing, because you have to learn it now. You have to do something about it now. And if you don't, who will? So I know I said a lot in a little bit of time. I don't want to keep rambling. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. More on social media, Hutchins Finance, shoot me a DM. We can set up a time. I can sit down and kind of explain it more in depth. I know I'll throw a lot at you, but if you take nothing away from me, take this away from me. Two things. First thing is this: pay yourself. I don't care if you have a job working at McDonald's, CVS, Kmart, Target. JP Morgan, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, whatever you do, pay yourself first, at least 10%. It's not going to kill you. If you make $150 a check, I don't care how much you make, that's $15. So that $15 right off the $150 going right into a brokerage account, savings account, whatever it may be, that money's for you. So now you got to learn how to live off $135. I mean, 150, 135, it seems drastic, but it's 10%. If you make it a little bit more, okay, I make $1,500 every 2 weeks. All right, so $150 goes to your savings account, goes to your checking, goes to you. You pay yourself first. That way, you know you always have something to fall back on. Put it into a brokerage account. Start building some things. Get an ETF. Buy a mutual fund. Get an index fund, because those are very, very safe accounts that will grow. You won't be a million overnight, but you will see growth in a year. I guarantee it. If you put the 10% into a mutual fund or ETF over a course of a year, you'd be amazed at how fast that money grows. Just trust me. I'm telling you, $300 a month and a 9% rate, you'll be a quarter of a millionaire in no time. I'll show you projections if we ever meet, and I can sit down and talk to you. Second thing I want you to learn from this as well, get some type of life insurance. It's very, very important, because while you're growing that wealth, while you're putting money into that ETF, or you're putting money in that mutual fund, you're trying to build wealth for your family. Well, God forbid, if you're no longer here to put that money into that account, what are they going to do? It's a big problem, big hole to fill. So that life insurance is the fastest way to build generational wealth. Unfortunately, somebody's not going to be here. But if you get that big lump sum of money, $100,000, $200,000, $400,000, and you get it to the right person, you get it to an investor, you know how to invest your money properly. That money will grow that much faster because you have that much more of it. So now you're set yourself up for financial freedom, because you have the lump sum of money and you can still take care of your family. So these are two things in our community. If we could just understand those two small little things, it'll help us so much more. There's so many more tricks and tips I can show you. I can show you how to grow your money fast. I can show you how to put it into something called a real estate investment trust, which is basically owning the land that the companies rent. So instead of owning a Walmart, you own the land that the Walmart's on. And you know Walmart not missing no rent payments. Every time that they pay their rent, they're basically paying you. So you're Walmart's landlord. Pretty sweet deal. But those are like little intricate things that you have to learn about once you get into the system, and then we can talk about it. But if you take nothing away from me, take those two things away from me. Pay yourself first. Get a life insurance policy on your entire family, whether it's you, husband, wife, kids, everybody, because that 20, 30, $40 a month that you're paying is an investment. And the last time I checked, nobody has lived for the rest of their life for forever. It doesn't happen. So eventually that bill is going to come due. It's a question of, are you ready for that bill when it does come due? So I don't want to keep babbling on. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me, Hutchins Finance, I'm on Instagram. Just shoot me a DM. I'll gladly sit down with you, kind of go over some things, give you some options, show you what we can do. And hopefully that was knowledgeable for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight, but I appreciate you guys inviting me, having me out, talking to you. Ms. Davis, I give the ball back to you.
Awesome. That was some great information. I'm over here taking notes. I want to figure out how I can get my phone bill paid. So that was very smart, very smart. So no, you shared some great information, things that I have never heard of, and it's a lot for our community, because this language, financial language, is so foreign to us, and we don't know much about it. And we have to find individuals like yourself who can pour into us and help guide us, because one, we do need to leave a legacy for our family. And it's more than the clothes or the shoes, the purses. Our kids need money to survive. They need money to survive once we're not here to take care of them. So this was great information. I truly appreciate it. If you have more questions, you can follow Mr. Charles at Hutchins Finance, which is via Instagram. Now, also, you can message one of the Melanated Minds ambassadors so we can get you in touch with him. But again, this whole month we'll be talking financial literacy, because we want you all to be equipped in regards to the Melanated Minds Network, which is mental health, spiritual well-being, physical fitness. A lot of our stress comes from what? Not having money.
Yep.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So this is a time for us to get our finances together so one, we can have a better year and also be a better example to our loved ones and show them that we can do this. We can build wealth inside of our community. Again, Mr. Charles, thank you again for being on tonight. The information was very valuable. Anyone who has any questions, again, you can reach out to us. Follow us online at the Melanated Minds Network, and that's across the board on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Instagram at the number 4, Melanated Minds, and you can reach out to us then. Until then, we'll see you all next week. You'll all have a great evening. Thank you, Mr. Hutchins.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Melanated Minds bring together men and women on a melanated minds journey to embrace self-love and empowerment through understanding and taking care of their mind, body, and soul. Melanated Minds is an exclusive community that uplifts and supports one another. The network made for us. Join the Melanated Minds Network today.